What's up, everybody? Hey, Gene, how are you? Hope everyone's having a good Friday night. Had a good week. If you missed Wednesday night's live, you missed out. It was good. It was real good. If you did miss it, you can go back and catch the replay on YouTube. Agent D Baker on YouTube. But it was solid. Tammy, Kaylee, Rhonda. TGIF. Carolyn. I'm doing well, Gene. As well as can be. It's been a busy week, but not a bad week. So, good news. The peaceful protest that we have planned. Well, let me make sure I tell you all the right date. The 23rd, July the 23rd, is on. The city approved that. So we have it for the 23rd, which is Thursday night, which is the first night of their ramp camp. But they also have it Friday night or Friday and Saturday. My thinking was we do Thursday evening because they start at like 6. That way we can be out there in the evening when it's not 100 degrees and the sun beating down. We can also do Friday and Saturday as well. I think the main night, and I also think it's good for Thursday because that's the first night. So maybe we bring awareness and some people don't come back the rest of the weekend. But we're going to bring awareness to it. But we need as many people as possible showing up that Thursday evening. We'll probably set up around between 4 and 5 p.m. July 23rd. And I will put out an exact kind of map of the area of where we're going to be. They're going to close the sidewalk off for us. So we'll have plenty of room. We have 2 different locations we can set up. And one is literally right in front of the ramp. So, I mean, we're going to be right there. And I'm pretty excited about it. Well, that's your birthday weekend. This is Thursday. Yeah, I know a few people went out there yesterday and today, which I'm glad they are. And I know they're being completely peaceful. I don't want to ever put any strain on the local law enforcement, especially an agency that small. And so that's why we always go through the city and fill out the correct paperwork and everything so they know in advance so they can have extra people around, all that kind of stuff. When you just kind of show up, which I don't, again, the ones that's doing it right now and last night, they're not causing an issue. Please don't misunderstand me. I just didn't want to show up with 30 or 40 people out of nowhere without them being able to be prepared for it. But I've spoken with the police chief up there. Super nice guy, like super nice guy. He just wants to do everything the right way. I mean, I have tons of respect for him just from the conversation we had. He's just a super nice guy. Just finished a couple of posts on CC Dixon Moreno's page. Yeah, I was talking to her earlier. That's wow. And I'm putting out a full podcast on. I'm gonna switch gears here for a second. Down to Orange Beach, Alabama, which is what the Wednesday Nights Live was all about. That, and this week's city council meeting down there it was crazy. I mean, it's a clown show down there, and I've got a full podcast I'm going to be putting out in the next few days on that. But if you missed Wednesday Nights Live on YouTube, you missed out. So go make sure you go catch that. I break down Tony Keenan's, which is the mayor. I break down his, I guess, more statement analysis and little body language, and a private investigator who got up and spoke, Wendy Pickering. I think that's the way I don't know how to pronounce her last name. If I'm mispronouncing, I'm not meaning to. I purposely mispronounced Tony Keenan's name. But she got up and just told on herself. It was strange. She lied. Someone messaged me earlier that is very close to her and said, I heard that you called her a liar, and I just wanted to verify because I didn't believe that. I said, yeah. Yes, I did, because she is. That's a fact. That's not my fault. Tell her not to lie. She allegedly has absolutely nothing to do with anything that's going on down there. And especially with what the big thing is over, which is Tony Keenan's domestic violence incident, where he refuses and the city's refused to release the body camera footage. Now they're involved in a couple federal lawsuits over that they're going to lose, and they're still fighting it. The same body camera footage that they claim, and Tony Keenan claims that there's nothing on there. Yes, there is, or y'all wouldn't. I mean, they're paying tons of money to keep this from getting out, and they expect us to believe there's nothing on there. And this woman gets up and is acting like she's some huge advocate against releasing body camera footage. And the precedent it would set, all this mumbo jumbo. The main problem is right before she says that, she says, I constantly request body camera footage, part of my job. Okay, so you're not an advocate against releasing body camera footage. since you're constantly requesting body camera footage. You can't have it both ways. And so she's trying to claim that that it has nothing to do with her. She is just afraid of the precedent it would set. They're acting literally like it's against the law for them to release it. That is not true. Cities and counties all over this state of Alabama release body camera footage all the time. It's not against the law. It's just up to them. They're acting like that's not the case. I don't know exactly what this Wendy woman's involvement is. I would bet everything that she believes there's something on that body camera footage that would be harmful to her. That's the only thing that makes sense. Also, first off, I apologize. For those of you that may not know what I'm talking about, Orange Beach, Alabama, the mayor, Tony Keenan, was involved in a domestic violence incident, I think in 2024, where a woman called 911 at 1 a.m. in the morning and said that right outside of a city-owned building on the beach, there was a naked man, completely naked, chasing a woman around, punching her, and yelling at her, "You can't leave me," or "You can't get away," or something like that. Orange Beach police show up, make contact with Tony Keenan inside this city-owned building now. He is butt naked. 1 a.m. in the morning, city-owned building. He now claims he was in there changing clothes. He told them there was nobody with him. So what did the police do? Well, of course, they did exactly what they should. Nothing. They just said, "Oh, okay," and left. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. That is not what they should have done. The woman was clear on the call when she said, "I saw a naked man punching a woman and a woman was running from him screaming." They didn't attempt to according to everything, they did not attempt to make contact with the female. Nothing. Tony expects us to believe he was just in there changing clothes. So you're telling me this woman who called 911 just imagined you were going to be butt naked in there in the middle of the night? No. How did she know he was naked? Because he was outside. If he had just been in there changing clothes, he would not have been outside naked running around. For a while, I thought, and I think a lot of other people did, I think some people have suspected from the beginning that the female with him wasn't his wife. I just assumed it was until I started listening to other people, and I was like, you know what? That makes sense. It probably wasn't his wife. Now, I've analyzed and broke down a interview on a previous podcast where Tony Keenan and his wife did an interview with 1819 News in talking about that night, that incident. No doubt in my mind, Tony Keenan is very abusive to his wife. No doubt. I would bet everything I've ever owned on that. And I broke that down in that podcast. You can tell by her body language, the words she said, the words she uses, the way she acts. He controls her. He has definitely hit her before, all that stuff. Does not mean she was the one he was hitting that night. Speculation now, and this is purely speculative at this moment. Maybe it was this Wendy woman. I don't know. I can't for the life of me understand what Wendy has to do with this, but she definitely has something to do with it. So an attorney, CC Dixon Moreno, which if you're not following her on Facebook, go follow her. She has posted all of this. She is the one that's filed the lawsuits. She's the one that's bringing all of this out because she said, hey, I think we deserve to see that body camera footage. It involves the mayor in a city-owned building in the middle of the night. And that's when they've been refusing ever since to release it. So she filed a lawsuit. Actually, I think she filed 2 lawsuits. I would bet a lot they're going to have to release the body camera footage. I don't see how they're not going to have to. I do think she's going to be successful in her lawsuit. So that's kind of the quick synopsis of what we're talking about. Then earlier this week at their city council meeting is when this Wendy woman gets up and speaks, and for someone who allegedly has absolutely nothing to do with any of this, that would not make sense of why she's speaking on any of this. So now, what I believe, I can't prove this for a fact right now. So this is me speculating. A lot of people are speculating this as well. I don't know exactly where it came from or anything like that. But it appears that Tony Keenan hired this private investigator to follow and try to get information on 3 of the city council people, 2 city councilmen and a city councilwoman, because those 3 filed an ethics complaint against Tony Keenan. So they filed the ethics complaint, and then allegedly this private investigator is following them around now. That's messed up. Now, from everything that I've kind of picked up on, Tony and the private investigator, Wendy, believe that they have covered their tracks enough to where nobody can figure this out. Obviously, people have. So what I mean is he didn't pay her directly. But apparently some money that just went through his campaign possibly ended up to Wendy. Watching her talk about that in the city council meeting, I 100% believe that. That happened. Wendy has absolutely something to do with those other 3 council members. Obviously, she's fully denying it. Tony Keenan fully denied it. He's full of shit. And I broke all that down. It's very clear. He's full of it. He said so much. So during the council meeting, right after Wendy gets finished, the city council woman that has filed an ethics complaint against Tony Keenan allegedly also called out Wendy online about some of this. And that was another thing Wendy was talking about. She was mad. And that city councilwoman's husband got up and came up to the podium and asked Tony Keenan a very straightforward, very simple question. Yes or no? And he said, Tony Keenan, have you ever met with any private investigators in regards to my wife? And does Tony say, no? Very simple question. And actually, the husband literally says, yes or no. Again, very simple question. Answer yes or no. Tony Keenan never says no. He says, let's just play it. I don't know why I'm sitting here trying to describe this when I can play it very quickly. It's not a long clip. I know a lot of you have already watched it, but for those that haven't, let me pull this up.
This is not about y'all, okay? This is about me.
There we go. So this is Wendy up here. This is during her speaking, but put this little thing together because it's pretty funny.
This is not about y'all, okay? This is about me. This is not about y'all, okay? This is about me. It's about me. My name is Wendy Pickering, and I have been a resident of Orange Beach for about 3 years now.
Can y'all hear that good? I fixed the audio, so the volume should be good on it now.
I know some of the stuff. This is my first meeting I've been to, so I'm kind of, haven't kept up with everything that's been going on, but there are some things that I feel like need to be said, some things that need to be addressed, especially with some of the council members having said some things about me that are not true. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this off my chest. How long do I have? I'm used to 2 minutes or 3 minutes, so I've kind of narrowed it down. Yeah. Really, I'm
It's very immature of me. I understand it, but every time I hear hers, I watch that clip, it cracks me up.
I don't want to take up much time. Well, I just need to get some stuff off of my chest.
The question, the only thing is the parameters that we always work within is everything presented to Mike should be constructive and should be in some way resolution oriented, not.
Also, allegedly, Wendy is not someone you want to sit down once she has gotten up from a seat at the Floribama. You don't want to sit down in the seat where she was, allegedly.
Pointing a finger, not anything of that nature. We try to keep it as positive as we can.
Okay. So, and this is my first meeting I've been to. Yeah. I mean, I've heard horror stories, but this one's the first one I've been to, and it has seemed like it's been very pleasant. Mm-hmm. And I hate if I have to bring up some things that may not be very comfortable for some of you sitting here, but I believe it's something that does need to be addressed for the betterment of the community. And
oh, thank you, Brent. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. I'll pull that up in a minute. Yeah, Wendy has since made a big long post directed at me. We'll read that in a minute. It's pretty solid.
Everything, just my opinion.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I say something and it's going a little off, just let me know and I can pull back.
Her mother has also messaged me. She's done got her mom involved. Mom's messaging me. Bad times.
Okay. So like many people in the community, I followed the controversy surrounding the body-worn footage. So I am going to go very shortly into that and my reasons. With what I do with work, I request body-worn footage all the time. So I do want to kind of dip in.
So remember, allegedly, this is someone that has absolutely nothing to do with any of this, but she felt the need to get up, go to the city council meeting, which she says this is the first one she's ever been to, and advocate against the releasing of this body camera footage.
To the precedent that would be set if we start releasing body worn footage to any person that goes to request it, especially if they're not someone that's personally involved in it. So I'm just going to skim over that. My greatest concern, like I said, is.
By the way, watch this guy. I don't think you can see my cursor, but look at the older gentleman with the blue shirt looking at her. That guy's immediate. You can tell as soon as she said that, he was like, "You're full of shit." Watch him.
With work, I request body worn footage all the time. So I do want to kind of dip into the precedent that would be set if we start releasing body worn footage to any person that goes to request it, especially if they're not someone that's personally involved in it. So I'm just going to skim over that.
Like,
my greatest concern, like I said, is with the precedent it will set. Every decision the government makes today becomes the example for tomorrow. Today, the request may involve just the mayor. It may involve another sitting council member. We don't know, but eventually it could be about me. It could be about you,
could
your
be
daughter,
about her.
Your son, in a DUI.
Very
or
interesting
anything.
choice of
And
words.
The fact that, just a veteran suffering a mental health crisis or an innocent citizen just having the worst day of their life. None of us would want that footage of our worst moments for someone that has no involvement in it to get it. Remember, body worn footage, it is not a conviction. It isn't even proof that a crime occurred. It is simply a record.
By the way, yes, a lot of times body camera footage is proof that a crime occurred. That's why it's considered evidence as part of a crime or investigation.
Of a police encounter, and sometimes it documents innocent people, innocent victims. Sometimes it documents people at their lowest level in their lives. And once that footage is released, the damage to that person's reputation and privacy can never be undone. The legislature recognized those privacy concerns when it enacted the law, and those protections exist for a reason. That's all I'm going to say on that, is I would hope that y'all would consider that, because once that is set, you open the city up to litigation, because if you allow one person, because they want subscribers and stuff and they're just wanting to get some views, if you allow that, you allow this people to just have their own agendas to
Old man's over there texting somebody now. He's like, this woman's full of shit.
get this footage. Then when does it stop? And then you open us up for lawsuits when you allow somebody to get it, and then somebody else comes along, and why will you not let me get, I'm just going to say.
And did you notice it opens us up to lawsuits? First, she was saying the city. And then when she talks about law, it opens us up to lawsuits, a bunch of things she said. And again, I don't want to rehash all of that because I went over it Wednesday night, but you get the point.
Just like, just say, Stuart, you got arrested for a DUI. You wouldn't want that out, would you? You wouldn't want me posting that on Facebook for subscribers. That's humiliating. So I'm saying, if you're not a party to it, those laws are there, and I think we need to protect those laws. And I hope y'all can.
We need to protect these DUI people. Maybe that's what she's advocating for.
Understand where I'm coming from with that. I will go on from that. Another issue, over the past several weeks, I have personally experienced conduct that I believe has no place in public service regarding a post that I had made about this body-worn footage, which is why I'm here today. I was accused by a sitting city council member of spreading vile lies.
Okay, here we go.
I was accused of being paid.
Hold on 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Hang on.
Hold on. The king is about to speak.
Sir, please,
Are you going to remove my husband from this meeting?
I don't know who said that. I didn't even see it. I just asked the police officer to please next time.
I'm just asking, are you going to do that right now?
If he interrupts it again, I will. But I don't want
This
to.
should not be allowed right now.
Okay, just.
I agree.
Okay,
It should
can I
be
stop
allowed.
can we stop just for a second? My
Yes, sir.
God. At what point is enough enough? I mean, when do you have legitimate concern?
Now, listen, Tony's talking. What did Wendy say? Yes, sir. Now, remember that in just a minute.
Yes, sir, I
legitimate
do.
questions, and I do understand that. I really do. Ginger, when your husband quits interrupting, he will be called on the carpet. It's a simple request. Do not speak from the audience. Come to the microphone. It's just that simple. I have had people removed before that did not know how to stop that. So that's simple. I mean, just courtesy. So
Yeah, it's also
anyway,
simple courtesy not to mock another city council member and call her counselor in a public meeting. And a lot of things that you do are not common courtesy. So let's not point
Okay,
fingers.
this is not about y'all, okay? This is about me.
Boom. Tony's talking. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. She says it a couple times. The councilwoman, Ginger, talking. Now, suddenly, Wendy's running the show. Listen, this is not about y'all. This is about me. This is also the person that claimed, again, none of this has anything to do with her. She's just a regular citizen and doesn't want that body camera footage out. Nothing to do with her. Till now. And that's where it's not about y'all. This is about me. And there you go. Tells you all you need to know. This is all about her.
Okay, sorry. And about you accusing me of spreading lies and accusing me of stalking 3 of the city council members.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't want to get involved in a litigation over this. I'm trying to tell you that is harmful to my reputation,
Mhm.
and I don't
And
think
it's so
right.
harmful. You
Not half as harmful as you getting up and giving the speech is going to be and has already been to your reputation. And that's on you. No matter what you say in your long post about me, which we'll get to, where she's already trying to set up for a lawsuit. It's very obvious because she's saying that I have harmed her reputation.
posted a post about it.
Yes,
and
I did.
That's probably
Okay.
that's probably enough there.
Okay,
yeah,
so I'm just, it really hurts me. And to me, it
Really
makes me
hurts her.
not, it would make people, if they're going to be vilified like that from sitting city council members, they won't want to come up and speak.
yes, ma'am.
And I don't know, I mean, what is the recourse that I have with, I mean, do I need to get an attorney just because
You do.
that's just not right that she can sit there and spread these type of rumors about me. And she's
Notice rumors, not lies. Spread these type of rumors. Word usage matters a lot here.
has proof of it.
Yeah.
She says she has proof. Ginger, do you have proof?
Okay, let's
No
You
comment.
better.
let's
You better.
I'm sorry, Wendy. Let's do it again. I appreciate that. I don't know what's happened in this community. I really don't. It seems like a three-ring
You're a
circus,
clown. That's what's happened,
and
Tony
I
Keenan.
didn't bring this circus to town.
Literally, you did.
It just seems that there's people that are trying to destroy us from within, constantly stirring up dissent, chaos, emotions.
Remember, all of this is literally all about him being part of an incident that he and the city council or the city is refusing to release body camera footage over. That's it. All of this is caused by that, 100%. Now, because of that, CC Dixon Moreno has dug up other stuff, thankfully. But none of this would be happening if they would release the body camera footage. So this is 100% all Tony Keenan's fault, hands down. No one else's.
I don't know what happened to the belief that you're innocent until proven guilty. Now, social media, you're guilty, and it's up to you to try to figure out a way to prove your innocence.
That's actually how civil court works. Criminal court, innocent until proven guilty. Civil court, you have to prove your innocence, not they have to prove you're guilty.
And that's sad. But it's getting to the point now, It's brought of our employees have been brought into it. That's so unfair because they are the ones that actually make our lives better here. But for them to be drug into it is disgusting. We get up every morning, I get up and we come to work and we do our jobs. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We're not going to engage. I'm not going to engage any more of this stuff in the media, not that I ever did, nor in social media. I trust the Ethics Commission. I'm going to let them do their job, run its course, and then let the chips fall where they may. And I would ask that everybody else do the same. And let's just take care of the business of the city of Orange Beach and let everything else, let it go. Just let it happen.
Just let it go. That's what he wants. We just need to let all this go. Let's forget about all of this. CC is not forgetting about all of this, any of it, thankfully. He has met his match, and she's going to win.
As it should, through the process. Let the process run its course. I just know from me, I have been the target, and I don't want to belabor this, but I do think that several things need to be corrected. I am not.
Here we go. Literally, and this is easily proven. I mean, there is no doubt about this. This is not up for opinion. This is not. Every single thing he is about to say is 100% false. Everything he is about to say, complete lies. Watch how easily he does it. Watch how smooth it just rolls out of his mouth. All of this. It is comical that he believes he could sit up here and say this stuff and people would believe it when we know. And you're about to see what I'm talking about. But watch him. Everything he's about to say, complete bullshit.
The target of the lawsuit about the body cams. The content of the body, several things need to be corrected. I am not the target of the lawsuit about the body cams. The content of the body cam has zero to do with the lawsuit. The lawsuit is filed against the city.
100% false, Tony. Completely false. Ask the person who has filed the lawsuit.
Of Orange Beach, it's essentially a binary type of lawsuit. It's, and please correct me, Counselor, if I'm wrong. It is
You're wrong.
Body-worn body cam is either public record or it's not. It could be of anything, jaywalking, public intox, anything. That is the question, and that is the lawsuit. Unfortunately, people have deceived and tried to, by stirring the pot, make folks think it's about me on a certain body cam, and that is absolutely false.
If you are a citizen of Orange Beach, Alabama, you need to understand how stupid he thinks you are. For him to just make that statement, in his mind, you are just completely ignorant. It blows my mind he said these things. A mayor of one of the most popular cities in the state of Alabama, the biggest tourist city in Alabama by far, I don't even know what to say. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely false. The second lawsuit against me by a certain social media influencer / citizen journalist, again, it's been put out that it is about the
CC Dixon Moreno is an attorney. That doesn't come easy. This is him simply trying to belittle her by acting like she's just somebody that makes some videos. That's crazy.
body cam. That's absolutely false again. I am being sued personally for blocking this person on Facebook. Now, I hope everybody heard that.
That is part of it. The other part, guess what? It's about him and the body camera footage. Again, these lawsuits are there. You can read them. But he thinks you're so stupid, he can say whatever he wants, and people are just going to believe him, even though it's very simple for anyone to look up. I don't understand. Like, this man has serious issues. Serious issues. And I will not stop talking about him and calling him out until he is completely out of that office and hopefully in prison, but at least not representing that one of the most beautiful cities in this state. It's sad. And it's just unbelievable that he can sit here and say this stuff with such a straight face in a public meeting where he is supposed to be representing and leading the city. It's unreal.
The lawsuit is about my blocking that person on Facebook. Nothing to do with anything, the body cam footage. So I think the community, as much as it has been in the upheaval, needs to understand what the lawsuits are about and what they're trying to make you think they're about. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And I'm the same guy that for 18 years, we had peace, prosperity.
This is the famous that we see from all these narcissistic people. And I think narcissistic is the least worrisome thing about him. But we see the same thing. Same thing from Walker County Sheriff Nick Smith. Same thing from almost everyone that I investigate, that I call out. Deflecting. Let's not worry about this horrible thing that I do, that I've done. Let's just focus on the good things I've done. And look how perfect I am. Look how amazing I am. This city is so great because of me, all me. I mean, this city would be nothing without me. That's what he's saying. Don't mind that I beat women. Let's move on past that.
We work together in calamity, prosperity, and we all, me and the Council of Jar, butted heads all the time, but we found a way to pull together for the good of the city. Same guy that 90% of you has got my cell phone. 90% of that 90% has called me and I've answered. I go to everything I possibly can attend and make myself accessible.
Especially if there's alcohol there.
I'm that same guy. I haven't changed. There's nothing changed in me today that wasn't there the last 18 years. So I think if you have an issue and you think
that's his problem, and he's telling the truth. Nothing about me has changed for over the last 18 years. That's, well, except his surgeries and Botox and all that stuff. There's some before and after pictures of him out there. Go look at those. It's drastic. But yeah, who he is as a person, yeah, I'm sure he's not changed in 18 years. That's what's pissing him off so bad. He's like, hey, I beat women 18 years ago. Y'all didn't have a problem with it then. Look how good of a job I did. That doesn't matter here.
think there's something going on, then you need to ask yourself what has changed, because it's not me. So tomorrow
There you
morning,
go.
I will get up with my employees, our employees, and we'll go right back to work to run this city just like we always have, and hopefully make y'all proud of what we've accomplished. Because humbly,
Can I file a FOIA request for that footage? Well, that's CC has done that long time ago, and that didn't work. So that was, I mean, she tried that, and then now it's led to there's literally federal lawsuits now because they refuse to release the footage no matter what.
This is not about y'all, okay? This
Oh
is
my
about
goodness, what
me.
did I do? Hit the wrong button.
so I hate to see that being destroyed and in upheaval, and I don't understand it. And I wish I knew how to fix it, but I don't. So anybody else, you're welcome to speak.
Release the body cam and I'll fix it.
That was Ginger, the city councilwoman. And that's true. Simple as that. Release the body camera footage. But they're not going to until they're made to by federal courts. What's up, Christy?
Harrelson, 4855 Burkhart Drive. Tony Kennan, have you ever met with any private investigators to investigate my wife, Jeff Silvers, or Robert Stewart in the recent past month to 6 weeks?
I'm trying to decide whether I want to.
Again, very sorry about that. Very simple question. Very simple. Yes or no? This guy's awesome, by the way. Like, legit. He and his wife are two awesome people that I want to know and be friends with and hang out with. Seriously, they're not taking any shit from him. They're standing up to him like they need to. And for obviously way too long, no one has done that. Thankfully, people are now. And it started with CC Moreno. Very simple question. Listen to what Tony says to this grown adult, this grown man who is a citizen of his city, who his wife is a city councilwoman. Listen to what he says to him because he asked him a question. He asked him a question.
Give you the time of day. Who the heck do you think you are walking up here talking to me like that?
Have you or have you not?
I've never
yes
met
or
with
no?
Talking to me like that. He asked you a freaking question.
Tony Kennan, have you ever met with any private investigators to investigate my wife, Jeff Silvers, or Robert Stewart in the recent past month to 6 weeks?
I'm trying to decide whether I want to give you the time of day. Who the heck do you think you are walking up here talking to me like that?
Have you or have you not?
I've never
yes
met
or
with.
no?
Have you or have you not at your house met with?
I've never met with a private investigator.
Now, notice the specifics. He said within the past, see, what did he say?
Hunter Harrelson, 4855 Burkhart Drive. Tony Kennan, have you ever met with any private investigators to investigate my wife, Jeff Silvers, or Robert Stewart in the recent past month to 6 weeks?
Past month to 6 weeks. Pretty specific. So this is not just something somebody's dreaming up. And that tells you past month to 6 weeks.
I'm trying to decide whether I want to give you the time of day. Who the heck do you think you are walking up here talking to me like that?
Have you or have you
I've
not?
never
Yes
met
or
with-
no?
Have you or have you not at your house?
And then notice what she says. Have you or have you not at your house? I didn't even catch that part on Wednesday night. Some of the viewers did and brought it up, and I was so very specific. At your house, past month to 6 weeks. Something's happened.
Met with.
I've never met with a private investigator ever.
And then this is the big point I brought up the other night with his word usage. He's asked, have you ever met with any private investigators? Plural. Any kind of private investigators. Simple. Tony Keenan responds, I have never met with a private investigator. Which tells me that he is thinking in his mind of a specific person, of a specific private investigator. Now, if this is not true at all, he wouldn't have said that. First off, if it wasn't true at all, he would have just answered the question, no. Again, he never says no. And for those that think, well, he's saying I never met with them. When you ask someone a yes or no question, especially when you specify yes or no, which is like this guy does, the only right answers is either yes or no. So if you don't get a yes or a no to that answer, then that question is not answered. That's 100%. Most of the time, most people do not blatantly just lie because our human nature tells us, our morals per se tell us that we shouldn't do that. And it makes it very hard for us. That's why it's so much easier for a child to just lie, because they haven't learned those morals yet. But for adults, most adults, unless they suffer from certain mental illnesses, it's very hard if the answer is yes for us to just say no. Very hard. So instead, what we do is we kind of trick our brain into not lying, but just not answering the question. So that's what we do. You see it all the time in politicians. This is classic 101 of that. Again, unless he says yes or no, then he did not answer the question. Why did he not answer this simple question? Because he don't want to say the truth. It's actually pretty simple.
Okay.
Ever. I tell you what, you prove it, please. Okay. Okay. But let's.
So he says, you prove it. Wendy says, she says she have evidence. Do you have evidence? Tony and Wendy both believe they've probably covered their tracks enough to where it can't be proven, but they're not 100% sure. That's why they're both acting like that. And you prove it. And do you have evidence? Very simple. So that tells me they think they've covered their tracks good enough, but now they're starting to guess. They're starting to second guess that, and maybe not so sure now.
Yes, please. Can we stop? Quit making accusations. I mean, just.
He didn't make an accusation, dude. He asked you a question. He asked you this when you really know what to look for, it's so obvious. I go back to some of my first interviews and interrogations when I was a baby investigator. And people would do this, and I'd be like, I think they're lying, but I just don't know. And I didn't really know what I was doing. Once I started learning this stuff, especially after 4 or 5 years of doing it, it was so simple to me. I'd be like, oh my God, like, you're full of shit. And so that's how much it stands out to people that have a ton of experience in this stuff. And it's just comical. It's comical that he thinks his citizens are just stupid and that he can talk his way out of anything. And to Wendy, I don't know what the hell she thought she was going to accomplish. I don't know. And somebody said, yeah, she does need to get an attorney to tell her to shut up. I say that all the time. I said it about Nick Smith all the time. Like, this guy needs an advisor so he will stop talking. Wendy needed an advisor to say, you're not going to accomplish anything by getting up there. You're going to harm your reputation, even though you're going to blame it on other people. No, you're going to, when you get up there and for no reason, and just bring tons of attention to yourself and tell on yourself.
Pull the evidence. We got a microphone. We open it every week. If you got evidence, bring the evidence and quit playing games. Just bring the evidence of wrongdoing. That's all I ask.
I would like to bring the evidence by releasing the body cam footage.
I'm telling you,
Let's stop
she's
this,
awesome.
please.
Evidence of what?
Can we just stop?
He said, bring the evidence. Listen to this. He says, bring the evidence. And then literally seconds later, he said, evidence of what? When she says, I'd like to bring the evidence by releasing the body camera footage. He said, evidence of what? You're the one that was talking about evidence, Tony Keenan. He doesn't realize how ignorant he is. And that's what gets these people. They think they're the smartest in the world. They literally, whatever room they're in, they think they're the most intelligent. They're the smartest in the room. They think everyone else is dumber than them. And that's what gets them. I'm smart enough to know the things I don't know. I'm smart enough to know I'm probably not the smartest person in the room. If I'm the smartest person in the room, we need to find a better room because we're in trouble. I'm smart enough to understand that and know that. Tony Keenan is not. Nick Smith, not. The list goes on and on, but you get my point. That's what gets them.
Alabama cities
I have
voluntarily
lived in
release
this
body cam all the
community. I
time.
moved
Go
here
ahead,
from
please.
Baton Rouge.
This is just a couple other citizens talking and talking about how much of a clown show this is. But anyway, there you go. It's a lot better than me trying to explain it. It just, again, the way he just completely lied and just without hesitation. I mean, there was hesitation. He's asked this simple question. And while Tony's trying to figure out an answer to come up with, which again, if you're just going to tell the truth, you don't have to take time to figure out an answer you're going to come up with. That's why he says, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to. Then he said, give you the time of day. Now, it would be pure speculation on my part, but I wouldn't doubt he almost slipped and said, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to answer your question. Then he stopped himself. Again, I don't know that for sure. The speculation on my part, but I think there's a decent chance that's what he was going to say. And then he came up with this, give you the time of day. Who the heck do you think you are talking to me like that? Oh my God, you can't ask the mayor a question? A citizen of a city can't ask the mayor a question? That's absurd in itself. Him up there acting like a king? But yeah, he did hesitate because he's like, shit. Because he wasn't expecting that like that. You could tell it caught him off guard. He was not expecting that. That's the best way to catch a liar. That's one of my best tricks there. Is if I'm wanting to ask you about something serious, we're going to talk about some things to where your mind's going to be the furthest away from that thing. And then, boom, out of nowhere, I'm going to ask you that thing and watch you scramble. And it's a dead giveaway every time. That's what just happened to Tony Keenan here. He was not prepared for that. That was the last thing he thought was going to happen right then. And so he didn't know what to do. And so he started scrambling. And I wish the best body language indicators are your feet. 100%. It's a couple things on body language. It's hard to just read anyone's body language and be pretty confident in it without baselines, which means you got to have conversations with them about normal things and stuff like that before you can really know what their body language does. The other thing, you got to really be able to see their full body. If you can't, then a lot of the body language stuff is just kind of guessing here and there. You could be right, but you could also not be so sure. But the feet are the number one indicator of body language. Almost with everyone. So it's hard for me to be extremely confident in actual body language without being able to see someone's feet. That's why if I'm interviewing someone, if I'm interrogating someone for sure, I don't sit across a table from them. We're sitting there beside each other, either right beside each other or kind of catty cornered to each other. No table in between us, nothing like that. It's for a lot of reasons. But one, so I can see all their body language. But I guarantee you, if we could have seen his feet there, his feet would have went from wherever they were pointing to wherever the door is. I guarantee you that. So if you really want to know if someone's being honest with you, sit across from them in a chair. Ask them a tough question that you want to know the answer to and watch their feet. If their feet go to the door, and you would be amazed of how easy it is to see. You're going to watch them. You're going to be, holy shit, that really is how it happens. And it is. But I guarantee you, if we could have seen his feet, they would have pointed towards the door because his ass wanted to get out of there. That's why on things like this, I have to depend more on word usage than body language. I have not watched Tony Keenan enough to really have any kind of baseline on him, nor Wendy Pickering also, because I've never seen her before in my life. But word usage works pretty good too. Not as good as body language, admittedly, but definitely you can pick up on things. But I don't know. Thank God for people like CC Dixon Moreno. The city councilwoman and her husband. People that are finally holding that POS accountable. It's sad that he has survived there for over 18 years. There's no telling what all he's been a part of in that 18 years. There's no telling. He stays involved in drama pretty much. I read a police report. Let me pull that police report up. loud. Sorry. A video pulled up, and my God, that was loud. I can't remember. Somebody sent me that police report. I can't remember who. Or actually, 3 different people sent it to me. I'm trying to remember one of them. There it is. So this report was made on this is in 2019. So this is back in 2019. On 4/28/19, while working extra duty employment at the Floribama Lounge and Package, I was notified of a fight inside. Upon arrival, I made contact with the victim identified as blank, who was bleeding from the nose. They stated under oath that he had seen a man he knew to be the mayor of Orange Beach, Alabama, punching a wall by the mayor's wife, identified as Paula Keenan, or by her head. Blank stated when he stood up for Paula Keenan, Tony Keenan hit him in the nose, and an individual broke them up, at which time they were broken up by security and escorted out of the building. We've all been escorted out of Floribama at one time. If you haven't had a good time there. Because I definitely have. I then made contact with Tony Keenan, who stated he and his wife were having a verbal argument when Blank approached him and began screaming, "Hey, Mayor, hey, Mayor, Mayor." Tony Keenan stated he told Blank to leave him alone, at which time Blank attempted to step into his face. Tony Keenan stated he pushed him in the upper torso in self-defense because he believed he was attempting to start a fight. He stated he did not punch him, but his hand may have accidentally deflected attempting to push him and may have accidentally gone towards his face. I'm not making that line up. This owned me when I saw it. But the bottom line, look at the last paragraph, last couple of sentences, where it says, was attempting to start a fight. Anthony Keenan, which is Tony Keenan, stated he did not punch, but his hand may have accidentally deflected attempting to push him and may have accidentally gone towards his face. Turns out Tony Keenan's never been good at lying. It's not improved, and it wasn't good then. Solid attempt of that there, Tony. I'll give you that. But yeah, there's just a glimmer in a glimpse into Tony Keenan's life there. But I was not expecting that last line when I read it, and I about fell out of my seat. Monica, how did I know you were going to say that? I thought I could make a living out of just reading things for Monica. Oh, is somebody acting a fool in the comments? If Monica's giving you the bird, then you probably said something out of line. That's not a funny joke there, John. Yeah, we don't joke about abusing women, so you can move on. Yeah, somebody said it. Read the room there, John. You missed it. Freaking idiots. You make an ignorant comment like that and on my post, you're going to get called out. Some of us have to learn the hard way. And I'm not worried about losing a viewer or follower. I don't give a shit. I don't want you to follow me. I don't want you to be a viewer of mine. You can move on. He must have went on. If a sitting councilwoman breaks the law or is on body cam, the people that voted them into the positions should absolutely know. You are exactly right, Brent. No, and that's what I was thinking. Like when she when she brought up DUI, I was like, that's not a good example there, Wendy. You deserve to get embarrassed if you have a DUI. Look, DUIs are a big pet peeve of mine. Those of you who's been following me for a while know that. When I was a baby police officer, I made more DUIs in my second year. I made more DUIs than any other police officer in the state of Alabama. Literally. I finished number 1 in the state of DUIs because I hate DUIs. I've never in my life driven drunk, ever. You can ask anyone that's ever known me. That's one thing I've always been against. And in today's time, there's literally no excuse. Because you can Uber, you got cell phones, you can call somebody. Like, do not drive drinking. Don't. It's just complete ignorant, and you could take innocent people's lives. Completely innocent people's lives get taken all the time. I've been on some of those accidents. And, man, not to be a downer here, but if it discourages one person from driving and drinking, one of the accidents that I was on was I want to try to be vague because I don't want someone as a family member or something to pick up who I'm talking about, but this was quite a few years ago anyway. But a dad was on a motorcycle. He had bought his son a brand new sports car for his birthday. They were having the son's birthday party. Dad leaves the party. Son leaves right after him. Brand new car that dad bought him for his birthday that day. Dad gets on down the road a little bit on the motorcycle. His motorcycle stops. It dies on him. So he's sitting in the middle of the road. Son comes up behind him, drunk, flying in his new sports car. Takes dad's life. It was one of the most horrible things I'd ever seen in my life. Because all the family was right down the road at this party. So they all come up there. They all see it. It was just the worst situation I could ever imagine. I mean, the son probably never was able to sleep good ever again. It was just horrible. It was not worth it. And it was all because he was completely drunk, because he was. Don't drive drinking. Do I have anything new on the ramp? Well, we do know that, so switching gears, the ramp is a cult disguised as a ministry that's based out of Hamilton, Alabama. And its leader, founder, Karen Wheaton. There has been, now we're up to, is it 8? 8 child predators that have been on staff at one time or the other at the ramp. They literally breed child predators, including Karen Wheaton's own son-in-law, who was also the second in command, one of the main pastors. He has now admitted to at least 2 victims. Numerous more have spoken out now of people he abused when they were children from the ramp. Karen Wheaton is acting like nothing's going on. They're carrying on. Now, they are liquidating everything because now a lot of these victims are suing her. She's been served at least 2 lawsuits, more coming. I think there's a class action coming now. So they're trying to liquidate everything. That's the same place where we have a scheduled peaceful protest for July the 23rd. And we need as many people as possible to be there. That's their last summer camp ramp, as they call them, where tons of people from out of town come in and go to their summer camps, tons of kids. And a lot of these people don't have a clue this is going on because Karen has not spoken about it at all. And when I say we, I'm not just talking about me. There are quite a few other people on social media calling them out, including quite a few previous staff members that finally figured out what was going on and got the hell out of there and have been calling out for a long time, and previous students there. A lot of victims, all that. So there's a lot of us that's calling them out, but not enough. But so Samuel Bentley had to admit this in March. I think, to be more specific, March the 17th. And Karen Wheaton acted like that was the first she'd ever heard of it. Oh my God. And they fired him immediately. All this mess. Karen knew about that for a lot longer. She knew what he was doing for years. We know that. One way we know that is because she actually paid one victim off before. And they paid the victim to keep the victim from going to the police. I've seen that proof myself. So, anyway, that was March. Well, apparently this past weekend was Samuel Bentley's birthday. And they apparently had him a big birthday party at their lake house. Just celebrating, good times. Even though we've been told Karen's daughter and grandchildren, the daughter that's married to him, grandchildren, they've moved away from him, they're staying away from him. No, they were there. Still trying to confirm if Karen Wheaton was there. Has anybody, I know a lot of you are on here, I don't remember anybody telling me, but did anybody ever figure out or learn if Karen was there or not? We don't know yet, but we're eventually going to find out. But yeah, so they just had a really good old time celebrating this child predator that there's no telling how many victims he has now. There's no telling. I've spoken to a few of these victims, and the stories that they have about this evil excuse piece of shit is horrible. Like things I would never repeat. The fact that his whole family had this big birthday bash for him this past weekend is sick. It's sick. And one day, when people learn about who some of his victims were, you're going to be even more surprised, and not in a good way. But there's only one place meant for this guy, and you can figure out where that place is. He has not been arrested yet, but that's only because this has turned into a huge investigation. The State Bureau of Investigations, SBI, is over that investigation, and I know they're deep in it. And now a bunch of other victims have came forward and all that stuff. So they are getting everything together and then presenting everything to the grand jury, and that's going to be pretty soon. That's the only reason he has not been arrested yet. But it's coming, trust me. And I have a feeling he will probably never see the light of day again. And what, Christy? What are you talking about? Oh, you said blasphemy. I was like, what? I thought we were friends. No, she. No, I think she's just telling people to watch my live. You know, she just. No, I spoke with her an hour ago. Yeah, she's just telling people to watch my live. But yeah, Samuel Bentley is as bad as it gets. And again, he's not the only one. We know of at least 8 child predators that have been on staff there. Literally one right now. In fact, I never miss a chance to call this POS out. So let's pull his picture up while we're at it. So when it does finally come out that this Stephen Tyler Jordan here, which is this POS's name, Karen Wheaton is not going to be able to say, I didn't know. This guy is still on staff at the ramp right now around children. He is a child predator. I have personally spoken to one of his victims, who was a very young boy when he was a victim. One of his other victims has made an entire video on social media about it, about him, describing the entire incident. He's still on staff there right now, or still participates. I don't know if he's like a paid staff member right now, but he was a big part of all their baptisms last week or week before last. Surrounded by children. I promise you, the only reason he was front and center to all the baptisms that they were videoing on Karen's property last week is because we've been calling him out. And that's Karen's way of saying, screw y'all. I'll do what I want to. It's infuriating. He changes his name on Facebook every couple of weeks. He'll be Steven for a little bit, then he goes to Tyler, and then back to Steven. I guess he thinks it's going to throw people off. Every time I call him out, literally, I'm not joking. Every time I call him out, he'll change his name on Facebook. Well, this is him. And the victim I spoke to definitely wasn't making anything up. This guy's a sicko. And he likes young boys. And I've challenged him numerous times. If I'm lying, Stephen Tyler Jordan, sue me. That would be an easy lawsuit for you. Sue me if I'm lying. He's not going to because he knows I'm not lying. Karen Wheaton, the fact that you still have him there when there is no doubt that he's another child predator tells us all we need to know if we didn't know it already. Remember his face. And if you're ever around the town of Hamilton, Alabama, and you see him, get as far away from him as possible. On top of being a child predator, the ramp is well known for. I got to be careful with the words I use. TikTok kicked me off. Of how much they're against homosexuals. And they say all these horrible things about them. Yet, not only does he like people of the same sex as him, but he likes them young as well. Can anybody explain that? And he's not the first one. He's not the only one. Here's one of Karen's big donors, Bobby Cook. Mr. Bobby Cook here. He's never looked twice at a woman. I promise you that. Unfortunately, Bobby Cook likes really young boys too. Karen Wheaton sends young boys to his house because he's a big donor. And he cooks for them. And I've spoken to 2 of his victims. He'll cook this big meal for all of them. They'll all eat. Then when it starts getting late, he'll talk 1 or 2 of them into staying over. Hey, let's watch this cool movie, something. Unfortunately, that's not what they do. And Karen Wheaton knows this. Yeah, he did own a restaurant in town. So there's him. Might as well not stop there while we're at it. Mr. Andrew High. Notice we have a mugshot of him, thankfully. Why? Because he's finally in prison. Well, he was on staff at the ramp for a long time. In fact, he was over what they call the chosen team, which is very young, a bunch of young teenagers. That's like their dance team. He was also running some of the summer camps for the small children. Now, if you're wondering, well, did Karen Wheaton really know that he was a child predator? Yes, because a friend of hers who was I'll just say he was a doctor, was going to send his younger children to the summer camp when Andrew High was over. And Karen said, don't do that. He said, why? Just don't send your kid to that summer camp. Don't do that. So we didn't. Well, now we know why. She knew Andrew was doing horrible things to those children. And she knew that if he messed with that doctor's child, that she wouldn't be able to keep it under wraps. And so she didn't want the doctor's child being a victim. That's how disgusting this woman is. I wish I could tell you that the reason he's in prison is because the ramp and Karen Wheaton called the police on him. No, that didn't happen. What happened is he started messing with too many, and they started getting too many. They had to start paying too many people off. So finally, Karen was like, you gotta leave. So they just ran him off. Less than a month after he left the ramp, because all he did is went to another ministry. Less than a month at that other ministry, he was caught with a child, and they called the police, and now he's in prison for it. So that's Mr. Andrew High. I wish I could say that's all. Then we have Mr. Chase Cantrell. He was one of the pastors at the Ramp, also a school teacher. I wish I could say the reason he was convicted is because the Ramp turned him in. No. Thankfully, the school did, because he was, you can read the line there, with a student at his high school. But Karen expects us to say he wasn't a child predator when he was at the Ramp. It was just when he was at the school, because that's how it works. Hold on, we got to bring up the main one. Where did this picture go? Here we go. That brings us to Mr. Samuel Bentley, Karen's son-in-law. He was the CFO for the organization for years. He was one of the main pastors, the second in command of the entire organization. Harming children there for over 20 years. There's no telling how many of those victims that Karen Wheaton bought off. And then he would get another victim, and then another, and then another. This it's a straight up cult. Not because of any of the reasons I've even said so far, by the way. And there's at least 2 more child predators been on staff there. I don't have their picture. I got to get their pictures on here, but there's at least 2 more. But this is the one who Karen wants to act like, well, as soon as she found out, they brought it out. They called the police. No. I know the truth now. The truth is, he messed with the wrong victim. He messed with a victim that has family that is very powerful and couldn't be bought off. And so they told Karen, this is what happened, and he's going to prison. So Karen ran to him and said, hey, we need to look like we're the ones that's turning you in. So you're going to have to take one for the team here. And so that's what happened. But that's what happened. So this is what we're protesting July 23rd in Hamilton. I'll put all the details on my website, agentdbaker.com. I'll get all that up Monday. Sometime Monday, I'll get all that up on the website, so make sure you check that out. And I'll also have a list of volunteers that we need for the Am I frozen for everybody? Oh no. TikTok and YouTube, can y'all see me still? Okay. Angel, it must be something on your end. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. But there's a few volunteer spots that we'll need people to sign up for, and I'll put all that on the website so you can go check that out. And any of those spots that you'd like to volunteer for, you'll be able to sign up on there. But we need as many. We want a very big crowd. And again, 100% peaceful. We're doing everything the correct way. We're never going to do it the wrong way. So it will be peaceful. So if you show up and decide you're not going to be peaceful, then you're going to be removed. But they're going to shut the sidewalks down where we're going to be. So it'll just be us. It's going to be very good. Very nice. And nobody's going to be bothering anybody. As far as nobody's going to be bothering us, we're going to be protesting. Bring your signs, all that stuff. Show all the people that's coming there what is actually going on. Okay. Changing gears here. Someone said, hey, thank you, Nancy, for that. I appreciate that. Wait, so we can get sued for blocking people on Facebook now. So, no. But what it is, and I explained this the other night, if you are a government entity and you have a social media page, you cannot block people. You can't delete comments unless they're vulgar. You can delete them if they're vulgar. And that's an iffy. You could still end up in a lawsuit over that. So I shouldn't have said that like that. You can't delete comments. And you can't turn comments off. You can't do that. That's a violation of the First Amendment, freedom of speech. That's why you can't. So if you're a government entity, if you run a social media page for a government entity, you cannot do those things. You can get sued and you will lose. So Tony Keenan blocked someone from what I understand was his mayoral election page. And yet you can't do that. I've had to explain that to a lot of smaller towns, law enforcement agencies, and council mayors and stuff before. It's concerning to me how many didn't realize that, but you can't do that. It's very serious. But you can't limit someone's speech if you're a government entity. You can't do that. Again, literal violation of the Constitution. So that's what that is about. So if you're a private person, you can block, delete, whatever you want to, if you're a private citizen. But if you are representing a government entity, you cannot. Yeah, Nick Smith did that a lot. He violated that a lot. He turned comments off all the time. Now, if you notice, this time around, on his election page, he didn't do any of that. I'm guessing he finally got some good advisor for something at least that said, hey, we're going to end up sued a lot, so don't do that. So I noticed he didn't do that, that I called anyway, that I saw, because I made a lot of comments myself, and he never deleted any of them. If they are running for office, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer, especially a civil rights lawyer or anything. So I don't know. I don't want to tell you wrong. I don't know. I would think you could, but I may be completely wrong. Don't take my advice on that. Don't take any legal advice from me, by the way. Just to be clear on that. But that is a good question. Oh yeah, Karen's blocked a lot of people. But again, she can do that. No, a local sheriff's office cannot turn comments off. They absolutely cannot. And if you live in that county, sue them. File a lawsuit. They can't do that. Again, Nick Smith did that. And when he got in trouble, this is what happened with Nick Smith. When he got in trouble for turning comments off, he just deleted the sheriff's office Facebook page. So that's the way he got around that at that point. But you can't do that. I mean, you're limiting people's speech if you do that. People have a right to comment on a government entity's page. Do you hear about the shooting in Corbin Hill? I did. I don't know any details on that, though, so I can't comment on it. I don't know any details about it. I did hear about it, but I haven't looked into it at all yet. Hey, come on, Patriot. I'll send you a little video of the whole studio. It's also got my full armory in here I got a fence in between, but I got a whole armory over here too. I appreciate that. I've been meaning to message you too about some of the other stuff we're talking about, and I haven't yet, but I need to do that soon. Yeah, you're exactly right, Honeybee. People with a lot to hide do that. Yep. That's the only the people that turn off the comments. Karen Wheaton did that on her YouTube channel. I mean, if you have nothing to hide, you're not going to turn your comments off. She had her comments on. When this came out, she turned her comments off again because she knows a lot of the people that pay her money and that come to these camps and everything are from out of state. So she knows that she's doing everything she can to keep this information from getting out to all of them. And you damn sure don't have to worry about mainstream media covering it because they don't cover child predators. We've seen that time and time again. But that's why she turned comments off, because she knew all of us would be commenting on there, and then those people would see it and be like, hey, what's going on? Because again, I've watched unfortunately, I'm going to have PTSD for the rest of my life from that, having to watch all of her videos, but I've watched all of them just to see what she says and all that stuff. Not once has she mentioned what's going on there. Not once. Not once has she said, pray for the victims. hey, let's think about these children. Not once. You would never know anything's going on by watching all of her YouTube videos. Never. The double murders in Tuscaloosa. That was horrible. I don't know like full details on that, but it was a a UA student and older gentleman was there dog sitting for the owner of the house. It was out in rural Tuscaloosa County. I think it was in Brookwood. And I don't know. I've heard, don't quote me on this, but I've heard the suspect was like stalking the homeowner who was out of town. But again, I don't know if that's fully true. But anyway, he came in and took both of their lives. Senseless. To completely, from everything I've seen and heard, completely innocent people. Had nothing, doing nothing wrong. I mean, horrible situation. Yeah, they all worked together at a local restaurant here. And I'm not going to call the restaurant's name because I don't want to give them bad publicity or anything. But they all worked together at a local restaurant here. And so, again, I don't know exactly what the relationship was, but I've not heard anything that would suggest that either one of the victims had ever done anything wrong. I mean, they were just completely innocent, and this evil POS took their lives. Thankfully, because of the doorbell camera, they got the suspect in custody within 24 hours. Almost 90% of my content under this account is CSAM cases that MSM never covers. Yeah, no, they won't. I mean, go listen to Ryan Montgomery, who is what they call an ethical hacker, but he's the one who was calling out Roblox for all of their child predators. And he's been on Sean Ryan's podcast a couple times. Go listen to both of those. They're solid. And he's a wealth of information on how child predators operate, what they do, and all that stuff online. I'm trying to get him on the podcast. I think there's a decent chance that's going to happen, but definitely not sure. So don't run and tell that. But I'm trying. I'm working some angles that I know, but I want him on the podcast. But he's a wealth of knowledge on all of that. But he's been on Sean Ryan's podcast. He's been on Chris Hansen's podcast. And when he first figured out about Roblox and figured out there are tens of thousands of child predators on there, he, for one, told Roblox. Well, what did Roblox do? They banned him. They banned him. Not the child predators. So then he starts going to news, all like mainstream media journalists, all the big ones. And he would go to the journalist, and he tells this story on Sean Ryan's podcast, but he would go to the journalist and he would like, look at this, like this is a breaking story, like this is huge. And every journalist he'd go to would be like, oh my God, this is going to be the biggest story ever. And then he would never hear from him again. Because what was happening? They were going to their bosses, and their boss was like, yeah, we're not going to touch that. That happened. Fox, CBS, CNN, all of them. All of them. Not one of them would run the story. And if it wasn't for Sean Ryan, we still wouldn't know about any of that. Well, and Chris Hansen. Mainstream media is a joke. They're a complete joke. But he had full factual evidence. Like it wasn't we may get sued. No, he had everything, all the evidence, digital evidence, as plain as day. And like he said, every journalist was like, oh my God, this is huge. This is going to be the biggest story ever. And then their bosses would shut it down. Religious entities should have to do background checks and drug screens, but they use religion to get away with quite a lot. Yeah, that's such a gray area. The government can't tell a religion what to do. Obvious. I mean, that's literally in the Constitution. That's what the separation of church and state is, so that your government can't tell you what religion you can and can't be. And so your government can't run your religion. It's not that religion is supposed to be kept out of government. That's not what that church and state is. The separation of church and state is to keep your government out of religion. So it's a very gray area. And so you have to be very careful. And I agree with you. But then on the other hand, I don't want the government involved in churches like that, because they won't stop there. We've seen that movie more times than we could count. Now, the ones that have daycares, that operate profitable daycares, they absolutely should have to go by the same rules as other daycares. Absolutely. They should have to go by all those same guidelines. Now, I do agree with that. I'll even say if they charge money, like for a summer camp, if they charge money for you to bring your child there, then yes, I agree that they should have rules they have to go by. Absolutely. I do agree with that. Winston County Sheriff lives in Carbon Hill. What? What? I mean, he has to have property or something. I mean, he has to have a house, like a home address in Winston County, or he can't be the sheriff there. That goes for every sheriff in Alabama. Now, different counties have different rules. Like some, you just have to live in that county for one day before you can run for office. Some, you have to live there for a year before you can run for sheriff. But to be the sheriff in a county in Alabama, you have to live in that county. That's for sure. So maybe he has two places. I don't know. Now, if you're 100% positive, message me and send me addresses, and I'll check into that. because it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, now a deputy could live there. That's up to each county. Again, the county commissions have their own rules. So a deputy could live there, but the actual sheriff. So that's what the other person's saying. Are you sure it's the sheriff, or is it just a deputy's? Is it just a marked unit that's there? Oh yeah, that's probably just a deputy. Yeah, all their marked units are going to say that, are going to have that on. But yeah, that's probably just a deputy. I mean, and yeah, that's pretty common. A lot of deputies live in like neighboring counties and stuff like that. Now, some counties require all their deputies to live in the county as well, or some sheriffs do, but a lot don't. Nothing new on Travis Burks, but we're digging deep into that, putting a lot of stuff together for sure. That's the Jefferson County Sheriff's deputy that I did the podcast on earlier this week. That's been abusive to his wife, children. Look for some really big information coming out next week. Really big. That's going to be shocking to a lot of people. That's all I'll say. And that's not me trying to get y'all to continue to watch or not. I hate to say that because I know what some people think when I say something like that, because I see other creators and stuff do that mess all the time. That's not what I'm doing. Like that, this is legit. Look for some really shocking, big time information coming out next week that I'll be putting out about that. And that's all I'll say right now. But you'll see it. Have I heard about the case in Montgomery about the shooting of a 6-year-old Kaylee? No, I haven't. I'm not familiar with that. Kristen, what are you talking about, Kristen? Also, if you're not following me or subscribe, depending on what platform you're on, please hit the follow button or subscribe button if you're on YouTube. I'd really appreciate that. And if you want to catch my full podcast, because the full podcast I do are only on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. And I'm trying to build up the YouTube channel right now, so I'd really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go over there and subscribe. It's Agent D Baker. You can find Agent D Baker on all the platforms except for Facebook. And well, actually, we do have an Agent D Baker page there now that we're going to start trying to build up. But my main Facebook is just my full name, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, Baker. Or you can just go to our website, agentdbaker.com, and find the links to all the social media platforms that we're on and go from there. Is probably the easiest thing to do. But yeah, I'd really appreciate if you go over to YouTube and subscribe there. And again, that's one of the places you can catch my full podcast. Also, you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel because my Wednesday night lives are only exclusively on YouTube. And we do that because I can be a lot more open about the things I talk about, as far as I don't have to worry as much about the words I use and all that mess that I have to on TikTok and Facebook. So we do that one night a week exclusively on YouTube, Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central. And that way we can go really deep into things. And again, if you missed this last Wednesday night, you missed a good one. It was very good. We had a lot of good conversation on there, and you can go catch that replay on YouTube. Oh, Burks says he's going to have to hire someone now. I don't know if that's going to do him a lot of good. Oh, you're talking about car. Oh, okay, I see. Trust me, I've seen a lot worse on Facebook and TikTok. I'm telling you, it blows my mind. I go through TikTok and I see videos that I'm just like, oh my God, how are they allowing this? They ban one of my videos a week. Seriously. They have suspended me from doing lives more times than I could count. And just talking about the stuff that we talk about, like this. It's crazy. And then I can go through TikTok right now and see videos. I'm just like, how is this allowed? Like crazy stuff. Literally almost completely naked people. That's just one thing. And some of the other things, some of the things people talk about that they apparently don't have a problem with. No, YouTube, it's Agent D Baker, Kim. The only platform is my full name is Facebook. Everywhere else is Agent D Baker. And if you have trouble finding any of them, like I said, just go to the website, agentdbaker.com, and you can click on all the links to my social media platforms are on there. So, talking about the screen being frozen, that's why we have the lava lamp. That's what my team got me, this lava lamp, because sometimes people couldn't tell if we were frozen or not, if I was being real still, not talking to me, like if I was reading comments or something. And so they got me the lava lamp. So you just watch the lava lamp, and if it's still moving, then you know I'm not frozen. I'm just being still, reading. Yes. Thank you, Katie. Katie was responsible for that. But no, I don't understand TikTok. I don't. They drive me insane. Thank you, Linda. I really appreciate that. No, you don't. You don't have to get TikTok. Make sure you are subscribed to YouTube, though. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, because again, on Wednesday, my Wednesday night lives are only on YouTube. Plus, that's one of the only places you can find my full podcast as well. It's not a Stanley Cup. Actually, speaking of, TikTok sent me this, but it's called Hydro Jug. I think I was supposed to promote it, but I haven't really done that. But I accepted the free big cup. Yeah, it's kind of famous now, the big green jug. But Hydro Jug. It is really cool, though. I guess it's probably very similar to Stanley Cups. I did see where the 17-year-old took his mom's life, and dad's in critical condition. Crazy story. Crazy sad, too. How was I saying hydro jug? That is hard to say. Hydro jug. You try to say that. That's hard to say. I don't believe you. That is one good thing about TikTok, though. They'll send you a bunch of stuff. They're constantly sending me random stuff. Sometimes makeup. I don't know if they get confused or what. I don't wear makeup, but no, they send me all kinds of stuff. Some of it's really cool. They sent me a ghillie suit a couple weeks ago. No updates on Sheriff Moon as of now. But there is another angle we're going at right now on that. Hey, you have a good weekend, Thomas. I appreciate you being on. See, we've been going for about 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's probably going to run for the night. I truly appreciate each and every one of you for being on here, and I mean that. It means a lot to me. I can't do any of this by myself. Without y'all, I'd just be talking to myself, which I do sometimes, but I try to not. But truly, I appreciate you all, and because of you all, we are able to bring awareness to a lot of things that need awareness to. All I ask you to do is follow, subscribe, watch my podcast all the way through, comment on them, like them, repost them, all that stuff. That's the things that push them out to the For You pages for more people to see. That way we can bring more awareness to the things we're discussing and talking about. But I really appreciate each and every one of you. So I will be back. Again, my lives are Mondays and Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central and Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central. Wednesday nights are only on YouTube, so exclusively on YouTube. Mondays and Friday nights are on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Until TikTok bans us again, which will probably happen soon. But live on those Mondays and Friday nights. Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central. Friday nights, 9 p.m. Central. What do y'all, hold on. Did I see the OBA body cam on Shay Foster regarding Danny Williams? No, I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I'll check that out. And also make sure go follow CC Dixon Moreno on Facebook. I think she has a TikTok as well, but I know she has a Facebook. But make sure you go follow her on Facebook, and that way you can get completely up to date on all the Orange Beach stuff. She's on top of all of that, and she also she posts some good content, but very intelligent. But make sure to go follow her. You're missing out if you don't. And again, that's also the best place to get caught up on all the Orange Beach mess going on right now. But y'all have a great rest of your Friday night and a great weekend. And I will see y'all back Monday night at 8 p.m. Central. Welcome to Truth Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, former narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran. Years of real-world experience in high-stakes environments, I've seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. Before this show begins, understand this. What you are about to hear may be disturbing to some audiences. This podcast contains explicit language, dark themes, and real conversations that are not suitable for children and may be triggering for some individuals. If you choose to continue, do so knowing this content is intended for mature audiences.